Hi everyone, and welcome back to Purpose to Love. My name is Randy, and today I want to talk about part 2 of experiential learning. Last week I told you about what experiential learning means, what it's all about, which is basically just learning through experience. But not only that, there are a sequence of events that happen so that when you are teaching your student, especially those with special needs, they can kind of reiterate and hear and connect the concept that you're trying to present with the experience that they are engaging in, to have a well-rounded knowledge of their topic that they're learning about. So last week I gave you a story about how me, two of my students, two of my staff, we went out ice skating. We were trying to learn about different activities you can do in wintertime. And I presented this idea of, well, what about ice skating? And they had no understanding of really what that meant. Just because of the situations and the abilities that kind of held them back from being able to experience it. Both students were visually impaired, blind, amongst other challenges, and it makes it difficult to do certain things with people with disabilities, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means you have to modify, you have to maybe get some more hands on board to help you, and so you'll hear about what I did with my students in the last video for ice skating. So for this video, part 2, I want to kind of give you a perspective from with teaching adults with disabilities and what that might look like. So a little background about the individuals I was working with, the adult individuals I was working with at this day program. When I arrived and I started working there, I met a staff there. She had already been working with a group of young men, or actually a variety of ages. I think the youngest she had in her group was about mid-20s, and then the oldest was probably about late 40s or so. And she had already been working with them on different projects outside, and she was able to utilize the space, this outdoor space that was connected to a fire station that was right next door. And it was actually their property, but they were very willing and wanting to utilize that space, so they let her and the individuals create like a garden space. And so they also worked on planting flowers and doing plant sales and things like that. So they were already involved in going outside and doing different things like that when I arrived at this particular job. And it was just really fascinating to see how they took to being outside and how they really enjoyed being hands-on and doing different things. Some of them, because they had tactile defensiveness, were not really wanting to touch the dirt or touch the plants or anything like that, but they were still willing or wanting to water the plant. They liked using the hose or, pouring a pitcher or something like that. They liked those types of things, but sometimes a good handful of them didn't want to touch the soil or the plant so much. They would tolerate it, but they didn't like it for too long. But they still, you could tell, had a good time. And so for the function of experiential learning for adults is more so less about the educational aspect of it and more about helping them connect to their surroundings and the environment. So with her group, she was able to help them to connect more with this concept of like, okay, well, they have a salad for lunch, or they're eating some carrots. Well, where does it come from? And so she helped them to kind of talk about, when you're eating something, it's coming from the ground, like a vegetable, it's coming from the ground, and really helping them to build those concepts, which is really cool. And just seeing how she had them a part of every step of the process, and she grew a lot of things from seed, and some things that she was able to start like seedlings and then have them, plant them in the ground, but some things they did direct sowing into the ground, which is really cool, just to watch them be excited about doing something different, going outside, being in the sun. So experiential learning for adults with disabilities is more so about connecting with the environment, connecting with their surroundings, the community, or whatever it is, to give them more of a concept, more reality to what they're experiencing every day. And you would think, oh, well, yeah, they're outside all the time, they do whatever, but it's different when you have someone slowly instructing and giving explanation to what it is they're feeling, seeing, hearing, smelling, or touching. So it gives more a tangible, real concept to something more abstract. So when we would do an activity, myself and the staff I was working with, I would, follow her lead because this was her really awesome idea. And I would help to, participate with the other individuals that she had, especially if she had like lower functioning individuals, kind of help be more hands-on because you need a lot of hands-on. And so, when we were working with the individual, what we would do is we would try to have things more tangible and readily available for them, so that when we were gardening or we were doing anything that would be more abstract, they could find something tangible to hold on to. So with experiential learning, as I mentioned in the last video, more props, resources, things like that are really helpful. And so with her group, we do like a lot of hand over hand, where I would pick up their hand, put their hand on the stem and say, when something grows out of the ground, it, grows a stem, and I would show them what the stem was. And then there's leaves, to kind of help give it some shade and trying to make the concepts understandable for them. And, then show them that there are petals and these are flowers, and then there are kind of seeds on the inside, and bees come and, spread the pollen to other flowers and all that kind of stuff, but making it very tangible for them, and using real resources, real props is even better than pictures or cartoon type things, because then it makes it more real. It makes it something that they can relate to. So for my group, because there's two groups, so the staff, she had her group, which I just explained, and then I had a small group of young men as well. The youngest I had at the time was, I think he just came out of high school, so he was like 18, 19, and then the oldest I had was like mid-40s. And so my role in their life was to help and provide education, opportunities, resources for them to build their skills so that they were ready to work out in the community to get more gainful employment. And so I would take my group of guys out with the staff and her group, and we would kind of work together a little bit. And so I wanted to provide an experience for my individuals, not so much to help them to understand the concept of where your food is coming from or experience something in that kind of a way, but more so experience different opportunities for work. So with the individuals that I was working with, it was more about helping them understand that they could do other jobs other than what has been the typical job for someone with disabilities, which is usually at a store as a greeter or as a bagger, which is fine and they're great, and there's a lot of individuals who love to do those jobs, but that there are other things that you should have the right to be able to experience and do. And so gardening, and farming and all those types of things, that outdoor type of stuff is what I tried to present to them when we would go out with the staff and her clients or her individuals. And so when we would go to the garden, I would talk about things not so much from, oh, this is a stem and a leaf, because they knew those things already. For them, it was more so, well, you could work at a nursery. You could work at a farm. You could work, doing landscaping, and these are jobs that are good. And like, if you like doing some of the activities we do out here, maybe we can see if we can find an internship, or we could find a job where they allow us to volunteer or something that would, connect or relate to the activity. And we did. We actually once they started getting the hang of being outside in the garden, and one of them liked it more than the other. The other one could care less and was not interested at all. But we were a group and we had to stay together. So he had to endure that part. But at least a couple of my individuals enjoyed being outside and watering and pulling up weeds and cleaning and organizing and seeing things grow, and and so he really enjoyed that. And then we had another volunteer opportunity where we would go to this facility and help kind of beautify, kind of picking up trash and leaves and things like that, beautify their parking lot where they had those mediums, I guess, where they had like trees and flowers and things like that. And so we would help clean that up and organize that, just to kind of help them to see, like, this is what landscapers do. So if you like in the garden or outside, this is what landscapers do. So experiential learning for those who are adults with disabilities is twofold. It's definitely continuing the education and understanding of concepts, but then it's also hopefully providing them with skills and opportunities to learn and grow. So hopefully I was clear on my presentation today. So experiential learning in regards to adults with disabilities, I really just wanted to kind of showcase that there's still a need for them to learn and understand and connect with things that they've heard of or discussed in the past with real life objects and tangible things, so they can relate to them a little bit better. And also providing opportunities for using experiential learning for opportunities for adults with disabilities who have the ability to work in the community as a means of showcasing other opportunities, showcasing other desires that they may have that they didn't know, other interests that they have that they didn't know about, by exposing them and giving them new experiences to what's out there in the community. So hopefully that was clear, but that's just a short little, summary of a couple of different examples of experiential learning. And if you have any other thoughts or questions or comments on experiential learning or anything you've done with your child or student or individual, please leave a comment and let me know. I would love to hear. There's so many different fun things we can do. It is about being creative, having time, having resources, having support, and sometimes it's hard to do in some settings, or if you're at home, it can be difficult, but it is possible. So please leave a comment, like and share, subscribe if you haven't, so you get notifications of any other videos I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your support. And remember, your purpose to love. Bye.